Hi, we are Engineering Brothers, and this time we have got our different set of problem for a signal flow graph, additional problem 5 over here. But before I go into that, I want to show you how to convert this 4 equation into a signal flow graph over there. That will be our first video. And in our next video, we are going to solve that given said signal flow graph in order to have the transfer function just by considering our mission gain formula, just like our previous 4 videos over here. I want to repeat this portion once again. I want to show you how to convert these 4 different set of equation into our signal flow graph over there. And at the last stage, we should combine that in a single set of signal flow graph diagram over there. And after that, I will show you how to get the transfer function over there. Now this one should be our first video, which is how to convert the equation in terms of our given signal flow graph over here. Now I should consider our first equation, which is x1 is equal to r plus 7x1 plus 2x2 plus 5x3. Now you can feel that if any expression that is been present over here or that is equal with this one, then r is going towards x1 with a gain of 1. Why? Because along with this r, only 1 will be multiplied. 1 multiplied by r, that actually give us the equation for that one. In our next part, we should consider from x1 to our x1, and the gain for that part will be our 7. Similarly, for our next one, we should consider from x2 to x1, and the gain for that considered part will be 2. For our next part, we should say from x3 to x1, and the gain for that part will be our 5. This is the way on how to convert this given simple equation in terms of our signal flow graph over here. And this one will be our part 1 for our first equation. Similarly, I will do follow up for the next equation for the same procedure for our equation 2 as well. The third and the fourth will be the same over there. And after that, we should combine these 4 different set of diagram to have the final diagram for our signal flow graph over there. And in our next part, we should find out the transfer function for that particular signal flow graph over here to get the transfer function. And once again, we are going to utilize or use the mission gain formula over here. Quite naturally, I want to say or repeat this portion once again. If any expression that is being present another side of our equation, now the follow-up consideration will be this one. So from r to x1, we have got the gain as 1. From x1 to x1, which we must say as our self loop over there, the gain for that part will be 7. From x2 to x1, the gain will be 2. From x3 to x1, the gain will be 5. Now let us draw over here to show you how to convert the part of this diagram over here to have the final answer for our, or to get the first part of a signal flow graph over here. Now we are having our, this one is our r, this one is our x1, this one will be our x2, this one will be our x3. Now according to our analogy, we do have from r to x1. Now say from r to x1, the gain will be 1. Now we should consider the direction of a signal over here. Similarly, from our x1 to x1, we have got the gain as 7, which actually indicating the self loop over here, and the gain for that part will be our 7. From x1 to x1, we have got the gain as 7, and which we have indicated over here. In our next part, we should say from x2 to x1, we have got the gain as 2, or gain for that path will be 2. For that last part of our equation, from x3 to x1, we have got the gain for that path will be our 5. Now this one will be our first part of our signal flow graph, which we have considered or we have got from this given equation over here. In our next part, we should consider our another set of equation, which I am just going to write down over here as x2 equal to our minus 6x1 plus 4x2 plus 8x3. Now what is the process? The same procedure. From x1 to x2, the path gain will be minus 6. From x2 to x2, which means the self loop, the path gain will be 4. From x3 to x2, the path gain will be 8. Okay. Without wasting any time, let us draw that over here. In this case, we have got x1, x2, x3, and finally, okay, these three will be efficient for our considered part over here. From x1 to x2, the gain for that path will be or minus 6. Okay, from x2 to x2, the self loop will be 4. This one will be our 4. Okay. Now once again, from x3 to x2, the gain for that path will be 8. Okay. Let us just go for that next part of our given equation, which is quite naturally our x3, which is equal to our 3x1 minus 9x2, 3x1 minus 9x2 plus 6x3. Okay. Now once again, do the same procedure. From x1 to x3, the gain will be 3. From x2 to x3, the gain will be minus 9. From x3 to x3, which means the self loop, the gain will be 6. Now I should say we have got x1, this one will be our x2, and this one will be our x3. From x1 to x3, the gain for that path will be 3. Okay, from x1 to x3, yes, this one. From x2 to x3, the gain for that particular path will be minus 9. And once again, from x3 to x3, which means the self loop once again, this one, the gain for that particular part will be our 6. Okay. Now we should follow up for our last equation over here, which is c is equal to 2x1 plus x2 plus 3x3. Now once again, we should follow up with the same procedure over here, which is we have got the another node over here, which we should say the c, and quite naturally this one will be our x1, this one will be our x2, this one will be our x3, this one will be c. From x1 to c, we have got the gain as 2. From x1 to c. Once again, from x2 to c, we have got the gain as 1. This one. x2 to c, we have got the gain as 1. And once again, from x3 to c, which is this one, The gain for that particular path will be our 3. Now we have got our 4 equations over here, and we have constructed our much needed signal flow graph for this part of diagram over here. So this one will be our first equation over here, and this one will be our second equation, and quite naturally this one is our third equation. Last but not the least, this one will be our fourth equation. And just by using these 4 equations, we have got our individual diagram over there. And in our next part, we should combine these 4 diagram to have the final picture as our signal flow graph over here. I hope you have totally understood up to this one. If you still have any doubts, please let us know in the comment section for better understanding. Do like, do share our videos, and keep following our channel. Just wait for my next part.
If you like my video, so what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon for more updates, and stay tuned to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.